Hello, 703. This is Deborah with the God Discussion Show.
Hello, this is Varmint Coyote in the chat.
Hey, well, thank you for calling in. Did you have a comment or a question?
Both, actually. Thankfully, they're both quick, so I won't take up too much time. But first off, rather than you thanking me, I just have to thank you for the fact that just tonight alone, you've exposed me to at least 3 new YouTubers that I have to subscribe to.
Well, thank those YouTubers for being there. They do just a magnificent job. It's a lot of work to do.
But the comment I had is a quick one to Matt about something they said earlier during his story about he was considering standing out on the street and not preaching or saying anything, but just holding up a sign. And I wanted to mention that there was actually a news story about 2-3 years ago around Christmas time of a billboard that was put up that actually said the exact same thing, that said, "Don't believe in God, you're not alone." And it was around Christmas time because it was an atheist organization that had it put up. And it was basically just a thing of, hey, you know, there are other atheists in the area, you're not alone. Because atheists more commonly feel kind of, I guess, alienated or isolated around the holidays because we don't really have holy days. We don't have a doctrine, things like that. And I just thought that it would be a really interesting idea for him to do that for the for seeing what the effect of it is, because that billboard from a few years ago was in the news because it had been taken down by Christian groups lobbying to have it taken down.
Yeah. Well, and even the one that's up now, or is it North Carolina, with the Pledge of Allegiance thing, instead of saying one nation under God, one nation indivisible, the way it used to be. I mean, look at what's happened with that billboard. I mean, they're just having a fit over that. It's on Fox News. Somebody within a day wrote "under God" on it. Matt, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Did you want to comment to respond to his question about the billboard?
I think actually what I wanted to do was very directly related to that billboard, and I think the story, I think where I got that from was actually the exact same story. So I'm glad that someone brought it up, as it's not very clearly not an original idea. I'll be the first to admit that a lot of my ideas are not original, but plays off of others. But yeah, that's almost very directly where I got that idea from. And I live in a state that doesn't have a lot of emphasis on religion, that doesn't have a lot of emphasis on the importance of going to church. I think actually nationally, the state that I live in, which is actually the state of Vermont, was rated like number 50 of the states that put the most importance on states that is the 50th state of the ones. I'm mixing up my words here.
The least religious, yeah, and I think Washington State was up there, and
yeah. Mm-hmm. So in a state that doesn't put a lot of emphasis on religion, I was doing it, one, to kind of create awareness for atheists, non-believers, secularists, etc., that live within the state, and two, to see the kind of reaction that I would get in a very highly populated area like the one that I live in. Again, I appreciate him bringing up that the billboard, because, like I said, it's very directly, or almost very directly, where I got that idea from.
Excellent.
May I add something? I'm sorry.
Yes, please. Who is this?
This is Dark Matter.
Okay, great.
I just wanted to add that in my county, where I live, that's very religious, very Christian. I've been down here for about 10 years, and this gigantic sign has been down here the whole time I've been living down here. And they put it up across the street from an elementary school, and it says, I quote, "An eternity in hell is a long time." And this is just such a bullying, threatening thing for a little kid to see. It's going to scare the hell out of them. They did it on purpose. It's on public land. It's not on a public land, I'm sorry. It's on private property, so you can't do anything about it. And I was just going to say that if an atheist did something like that, if we put a big sign in front of an elementary school that said, Christians deserve torture or something like that, it would be such an outrage. There'd be such a public outcry. The sign would be burned. It wouldn't last, 5 hours.
Exactly right. Very good point. And I think it's Kentucky. Some guy is, put bukus of money into putting these same kind of signs that you were talking about. You're going to go to hell if you don't believe, and just really awful stuff. And the state is losing its federal funds because you can't have these kinds of signs on the highways. And so I think they're in round 3 of lawsuits over this thing. I mean, this guy's just adamant about putting these signs up. And if the atheists tried to do the same thing, and that's not even making big news, and it should.
Well, I think this is honest discussion here. I think the issue with atheists putting signs up isn't necessarily that everyone's against us, but I more so that Christians we're just more used to Christians. I think if Scientologists put up a Xenu sign, that would probably last just as long as an atheist sign. I guess in that regard, it's not like everyone's saying, "Oh, they're Christians; they have a right to." It's like, "Oh, it's another crazy Christian." I think the only reason the atheist sign would draw attention is because it's new. And it's not necessarily that everyone's against us. They are in a way, but I don't think that's the reason why the sign wouldn't last.
Very good point. Okay, I'll go on to our... go ahead. Is this...
Bionic Dance here. I would like to corroborate the statistics that you folks mentioned, because I grew up not too far from... I shouldn't have said that. Where Matt lives.
Okay.
Sorry, his YouTube channel, it used to be... Anyway. So, I grew up not too far from there, and I live in Washington State. The only thing... And so I'm in a position to know that it's pretty secular around here, except if you leave the Seattle area, you start to get into, red state, church brain people. But because there's so many people in Seattle, it manages to offset the entire rest of the state of Washington. But, in the Seattle area, it's very, very secular. It really is. And Vermont